And I realized, do I actually enjoy this? Like, what am I doing? Is it adding meaning to the world? I was really going through a proper low and not knowing what to do, but also scared to kind of give up in a corporate career. And I'm gonna figure it out. And then I resigned. And I resigned with no plan. Closed the shop at 6, cleaned up everything by 7 o'clock, went home. I burst into tears. No one knows this part of it. I burst into tears because I was so tired. No such thing as overnight success. I just wanted quick results because I was just used to having quick results.
Welcome to Kasa Connect. Together we're exploring the journeys of entrepreneurs, creatives and change makers shaping the future.
Hi, I'm Preeti. I am the host of It's Pretty Personal, a podcast all about sharing South Asian stories. And yeah, I think for me, a reason why I started it was because I almost felt like there's such a lack of South Asian representation. And I think growing up, I almost started finding my stories in other people's stories, but I couldn't ever find someone that like 100% that like I could relate to, being like a British Indian girl. So yeah, I love podcasts. I used to have my own radio show at uni. And I decided at COVID in 2020 to like launch my own. And it's been incredible, actually. It's like, it feels so meaningful. I think the mission behind the podcast is just to help other girls feel less alone, especially when you're in this like late 20s, early 30s kind of bubble. Everyone around us is doing completely different things. And I think everyone's journey is going a different way. And I think sometimes it can get really lonely, especially if someone isn't going through something similar to you, or they don't know how to help you, or you just want to find conversations from people who are going through something similar. And it's that whole idea of connection and relatability and almost democratizing information, because there's so much that we don't know as well.
That's exactly why I love your podcast. So that's why I was like heavily stalking your page, because I felt like, wow, this is someone who gets me. Because, you know, I'm surrounded by lots of friends who are amazing. But like you said, everyone's in a different stage of life, you know, lots in corporate careers, lots married, some, you know, looking at having kids. And we all are in such different stages. And a lot of times when I'm sharing kind of my personal struggles or what I'm doing, it's hard for someone to empathize or give me good advice because they've not been in my shoes, and it's hard for them to be in my shoes, which is fully understandable.
Honestly, I think like one of the things we also related on so much is the fact that my dream is actually to open a cafe as well. So when you reached out, I was like, oh my God, like this is like, obviously not right now, but in the future, it's something I really envision. It's
As
like,
you should, and it's gonna happen.
But yeah, let's get into your story, because you are the owner of Kasa Café, which is here in London. How did it all begin? Well, why a cafe?
So I think I'm gonna have to go all the way back into kind of childhood, but I mean, I'll do that later. Let me start with, okay, so after uni, I went to LSE and everyone was either doing investment banking or consulting. So I felt like I'm the kind of person who kind of, you know, just goes with the crowd, which now that's changed. But because of that, I thought, okay, these are the two career paths which are looks good and everyone wants to do it. This is what I have to do. Did an investment banking internship, hated it. Decided, okay, I'll do a graduate job in consulting. Done. Went to PwC and was a tax consultant there. All the amazing perks and the office and the friends I made me love it. But COVID hit. And when COVID hit, all the perks are gone. It's just me, my laptop screen, my Excel, all the emails I have to respond to, all this kind of tax exams I have to take. So I'm working 12 hours a day from my bedroom, and I realized, do I actually enjoy this? Like, what am I doing? Is it adding meaning to the world? Like, I was helping a lot of the big companies and CEOs claim foreign tax credits when they have a big travel pattern. And I'm like, I want to be doing something meaningful. Like, this feels like it's not giving me purpose. It's giving me like just something I'm doing for the sake of doing it. I've not really thought about what I want to do. And then when COVID hit, my parents were like, come to Lagos. I was in London working. And so I went to Lagos, but PwC didn't let me work from there. So I had to use up all my annual leave while being there. So then I come back when flights are open and routes were open, because it was a full shutdown in August. And I had to work rest of the year, no holidays. Jan, I hit burnout. And I'm just like, this is a sign. Like, I'm really, really hating what I'm doing. And so I took a diary. And I decided, because at that time I was reading a lot of manifestation books, lots of spiritual books, as you do when you're going through, a low in your life. I was really going through a proper low and not knowing what to do, but also scared to kind of give up in a corporate career. I took out a journal and I wrote in the present tense as if I already had it, because that's what they say to do. I am grateful to have work which brings meaning to my life, which allows me to travel when I want, which brings together all my passions, because I love sports, I love music, I love dance, I love creativity, I love people, I love all of these things. So I was like listing everything I want in my day-to-day, the flexibility, the ability to just go for a coffee morning whenever I want. Like I literally envisioned it and wrote it down. I did not know what that would look like. Like I did not know that would look like a cafe or what that would look like. But I wrote it down and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna leave that. This is what I want. This is what I want to feel. This is what I want my life to be like, and my job to be like, the flexibility and everything. And I'm gonna figure it out. And then I resigned. And I resigned with no plan. I decided to go to India because my grandmother was ill. And again, great decision because I got to spend meaningful time with her before she passed away. So I feel like at that point, I just learned that everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Like that was good. And then in India, I started a fashion company with my sister, which was going amazing, but I was not committed to living in India at that time. I wanted to come back to London. I felt like my time wasn't up. So part of what I was doing was I was making decisions aligned to what I wrote down in that notebook. And so I'm like, okay, if I want all these things, surely I can't work for another company. I cannot find a job that's going to give me all of these benefits that I want. So I decided I want to do my own thing. I want to be an entrepreneur. So I didn't know in like what field, what I do, nothing. But I decided, okay, I'm going to do a master's in entrepreneurship. So I applied to Imperial and luckily I got in. And when I was in Imperial, throughout my whole kind of year of studying, I would study in different cafes. I loved studying in different cafes. I found the library a bit too the lights, the vibe. It just wasn't there.
You have to be like
super
quiet.
I need like a little bit of noise.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I would get scared if I would cough in the library with everyone like super serious.
And also like, when you're in a library and you make a little bit of noise and everyone just stares at you, you just feel like, ooh.
Yeah, honestly, seriously. And cafes not only became a place of work, I would go there to decompress, like read a book. I'd also go there to meet a friend. I felt like it was the best place just to catch up with coffee with friends. And so, that was happening and I didn't realize until one day I was sat in a cafe and I just looked around and I was like, it would be cool to do something like this. Again, I just had that thought, didn't think twice about it. And then it was a moment where this property became available. It was a dog groomer's for 2 years. It was a dog groomer's for 10 years. And then for 2 years, it was not being sold or rented out because it was really, really run down. So it's a fantastic location in central London. And, we've got Oxford Circus Tube Station, Warren Street, opposite the University of Westminster, great location. At that time, there was no coffee shops on this street. So I was just like, wow, okay, I'm getting great rent and perks for this spot and I can do it up. So that's when I'm like, I'm going to work on this project. I was optimistic, but also when I came to see this space and the ceilings looked like they were about to fall down and the walls were like a disaster. And because it's like such a narrow corridor, I hate that feeling of being claustrophobic in a small space. I was also doubting whether I could do it. But then I'm just like, I'm going to commit to this. And that's how, the plants, the mirrors, we designed it. I found an amazing interior designer. We designed it together to make it more airy and like that vibe that I want to create that I enjoy in a cafe. But that's literally how it came about.
So you enjoyed like going to cafes, working in cafes. You kind of had this inkling inside you. So what was it between that and finding the location for Kasa?
So in between that and finding a location for Kasa was me speaking to my parents, who are also in hospitality in Nigeria, and telling them, okay, this is what I enjoy doing. And this was mostly, I love talking to people, like big yapper. I love meeting people, like it really energizes me. I hate being behind a screen on a laptop. And they were just like, why don't you open a restaurant? Like, why don't you do something in hospitality? You know, sometimes when you're like when your family is in a particular industry, you never consider it. That's kind of what happened to me. And then my dad was like, why don't you do that? And I'm like, okay, cool, let's do that. And I was actually like, I can't do this in London. I was just like, rent's gonna be so high, business rates is gonna be so like crazy, you know, staff salaries, everything. London feels like really risky and really scary. So I actually flew down to India, and I was with my dad, and we were location scouting. We developed like a business plan for like this Mexican restaurant, because at that time, big tequila fan as well. And it was the property agent in India that told us about this location in London.
No way.
So I was in the meeting, and that's when I was just like, okay, maybe I am meant to be in London.
Yeah.
So I flew back to London, and I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm meant to be here and do it here. I do a coffee shop here, because that was initially the dream, but the rents in London and the costs in London and all of that kind of scared me off to India.
Yeah. What were kind of like the things that you had to think about? Because I think for so many of us, we want to be like, we want to start our own cafe, we want to start our own restaurant, we want to do this. But there's so much behind the scenes that people don't see. What were some of the things that you were working on behind the scenes to kind of because you said the property was really run down, like how to make it into what is a really beautiful cafe now?
Yeah, I think that the one behind the scenes thing that a lot of people don't realize is that you need so many different licenses. You need like health and safety to turn a dog rooms into cafe, health and safety, food registrations. There's a lot of like small technical things that you need to build. So for example, you need a double sink for hygiene. So we had to get that fitted and built. I think it's just all the kind of legal and security aspects of it that I didn't realize how much of it there was to do.
Yeah.
And I hate admin, but I had to obviously do that. There was just a lot of that. But I think that with me is a lot of people are like, oh, you know, women are not risk takers. They need full information before they dive into something. I've always been too much of a risk taker and too impulsive. So I feel like I wish I did more research, to be honest, because the beginning of the journey wasn't easy. But I had to do that. And then I also had to learn about making coffee. Like, I don't want to admit this but I will say it. I did not know how to make a cup of coffee. So,
but now you do.
Now I do. So I had to do a lot of barista training. So actually at that time, I was still studying in Imperial when I decided I want to do this after Imperial. And again, me being super ambitious and so like optimistic, I was like, as soon as I graduate, I want the cafe to be open and I want to go straight into it. I don't really want to be unemployed in between the periods. And so it was during my time at Imperial where I applied for a barista job at Imperial, and I got it. And all my friends would see me like behind, like serving them, taking my orders, taking their orders. And I felt like they were like really questioning what I'm up to. Like someone did straight up ask me like, why don't you focus on something more like academic and try to get experience that's aligned to like a career you want? Why are you doing like all these kind of because I was not only doing barista jobs, I was also doing like catering jobs because I wanted to learn the food side of things. So all the like catering networking events, I would like go to the kitchen and help them set platters and like serve. And they were like all like people I knew from the uni as well. But I think I had no shame. I was just like in my head, I knew why I was doing this. I knew like, okay, these small tasks and jobs and learning I'm doing at Imperial behind the scenes of the catering department's really gonna help me. So that was one thing that went into it, like really having coffee is as complex, if not more, as wine. There's more like flavors, tones, and also like so many factors that affect it, from like water temperature to grind size to extraction times, all of that kind of stuff. So I tried to learn all of that really quickly. And then the hardest behind the scenes thing is hiring the right team. The team really makes or breaks the company. And I did make bad hiring decisions. Like when I did open, I dealt with staff who were smoking weed in the basement. What? Yeah. I dealt with, the ones who were just always on their phone when you turn your back around. But then I also, touch wood, have one who's still with me today who was amazing. And together when we kind of, became like a power couple essentially. We call ourselves a couple. We literally call ourselves boyfriend and girlfriend because we spend the most time with each other. So, and I like having that open relationship and a flat organizational culture. Like, I hate micromanaging.
Yeah.
Like, I just want people I can trust on my team. So it was a series of kind of hiring and firing that finally have a good team. But that was the hardest thing. And I mean, the first person I should have fired, it took me like over a month. I kept it for too long because I was just so scared to let someone go.
Yeah.
And again, this whole journey of opening Kasa has been a personal development journey and a half.
They do say that. They do say that when you start working for yourself or you start your own business in any way, in any capacity, that it is the biggest self-development journey that you're ever going to go on.
Yeah.
Like, how have you changed and grown over the time that you've had Kasa? Because how long have you had the cafe for now?
It's going to be 2 years on the 18th of September.
Oh my
so
God.
not that long, but yeah, approaching 2
But
years.
in those 2 years, like, how have things changed? How have you changed? Like, if you were to go back and look at Krishana 2 years ago to now, like, what are the changes?
Oh, the biggest change, I think, is in confidence, my confidence level. I think that when I first started, I doubted myself so much. I was so insecure. I was so confused. The biggest thing I struggled with was this decision making. And now I've decided to start a business alone where I have to make decisions on like the smallest things of whether I should work with this bakery or that, which coffee beans to use. I had to decide everything.
Yeah.
And yes, I'd be calling up my parents, but what are they going to do sitting in Lagos? They've been my biggest support system, my parents and my siblings. But then I realized like everyone has their own business. I chose to do this. I need to learn to make decisions. And I think that, and I need to learn to trust myself. I think that a lot of the period where I was going through a low phase was because I just kept doubting myself. I just didn't trust I could do something. And so now I'd say, like, if someone wants to start something new and go and be an entrepreneur, the first thing I'd tell them to ask themselves is, do you trust that you can do it? Because like, if you don't trust you can do it, it's going to be an up and down battle like I was facing with myself.
Yeah, I think that's so relatable because I think also because you were in corporate for a while, and I think like after uni, and I can really relate because I was also in corporate after uni as well, and we are so used to like asking a manager or there's direction from a director or there's a strategy and you just work towards that. So we haven't really had agency in learning how to make decisions ourselves because there's always someone that we can rely on and someone we can ask. But when you are your own boss, and there's pros and cons, right? But when you are your own boss, there's also this level of, oh my God, now I have to make this decision. And if you've not had that experience of having to make these decisions, then you do doubt yourself because you're like, oh, but I don't know if this is the right thing. And I think entrepreneurship can be like really lonely journey as well because there isn't anyone or there's not many people doing the same thing that you're doing. And it's something I've been hearing a lot because even now, like for me, going from full-time corporate to now being an entrepreneur myself, I almost feel like it is lonely because you're making all these decisions and sometimes you just want to ask another person to be like, oh my God, like, what do you think about this or this? And then you're like, oh, wait, but I'm the boss now.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. No, it's real imposter syndrome.
Was there ever a time where you were like, oh, I don't know if it's going to work out?
I was just going to bring that up. I was going to say, like, with hindsight, I say this. But so, like I said, like, I was studying at Imperial when I decided I'm also going to open Kasa and I'm also going to open it in time. So part of the reason of also wanting to open it in September was because the University of Westminster is right opposite. I wanted to open at a time where they are also opening, so the new students can see something new and exciting outside their campus, and I just thought it was a good opening phase. So I pushed and pushed and pushed because construction was taking long. I had to do all these marketing bits and push for like logo design, everything, suppliers, all of that, alongside also completing my final project for Imperial.
Oh my God.
So the day I opened Kasa, I had to come in the morning at 5 a.m. because it was a 7 a.m. start. So I needed to make sure all the team was there, the pastries were out of the oven, all of that kind of stuff. And then I went home, closed the shop at 6, cleaned up everything by 7 o'clock, went home. I burst into tears. No one knows this part of it. I burst into tears because I was so tired. And I'm like, I'm going to have to do the same thing. I'm going to have to wake up at 5:30 because for a 7 a.m. open, and I'm gonna have to do this on repetition for the whole week, because at this point, like, I've just met my manager. I don't want to give her the keys. I want to open and close with her. I want to be like on ground supervising everything. And so then like that first month where I'm still training the team, I'm still working with them, I'm still getting to know processes, like, you know, our milk deliveries got delayed in that first week. A lot of the there was just a lot of like different small issues
That you just
know,
didn't expect.
that I didn't expect. So I had to be on ground.
Yeah.
And so that whole first month was all lots of thieving issues, as you have in a business. And I'm like, okay, this is the rest of my life. I've committed to a Monday or Friday. I've got like, what have I done? Because I'm so tired. I'm so burnt out. And at the same time, the optimist in me had overestimated average sales per person.
What was in your brain? Like, what, like in that first week, what were you thinking?
Like, because I was working at our college cafe in Imperial, and easily, like, you know, it's college cafe, it's campus, easily they were getting like 300 coffee sales through the door, average spend £5 per person. And I'm like, okay, this is so easy for them. Like, they hit like, sometimes they'd hit like 10K sales, just a small coffee counter. You know, I didn't realize, like, okay, yes, I'm outside of university, but it's not gonna be the same, because like the university inside also has a cafe. And also, I didn't realize something, which was a month after opening, a Gale's opened on the street, a watch house opened on the street, a coffee shop next door opened
So like,
on the
all
street.
the competition.
Literally, I was just like, whoa. And that's when, like, to be honest, I am the kind of person who sets myself very optimistic targets, but most of the time I meet them. So in my whole experiences throughout school, like, I want 10A stars, I'll work hard, I'll meet it. Throughout PwC, like, all the different projects I was put on, like, I met all the targets, excelled all the targets. So this was the first time I'm just like, I've not met a goal I've set for myself.
How was that for you to like navigate like that failure?
Exactly what I said, that I stopped trusting, like, the whole trust, like, when I say you have to trust yourself, I started self-doubting a lot. And then I just became, like, my personality was always been optimist. I just started being a bit of a pessimist. And that's when I was just like, okay, what do I do? And my parents have been the biggest support system for me, not only like financially, but emotionally. They were just like, you need a break. You are burnt out. You need a break. They were like, I was just like, I can't leave and come to Lagos and take a holiday. That's where they're based. Because I've opened this business. It's been like 2 months. Like, that's ridiculous. They're like, no, trust me, just come. I listened to them and I took that break, and I came back. And when I came back, there was this person who wanted to open their own cafe and loved Kasa's branding, loved the location. He was a chef, and his dream was to open, and he had the capital for it at that time. So he came into Kasa and he was like, who's the owner? And I was like, I'm here. And he was like, can I buy it off you? And I was like, oh, wow. Yes, please.
Were you considering?
Yes. No, I said yes. I fully said yes, because I literally was just like, I can't do this. I tried for 3 months. I tried for only 3 months. That's how lack of trust self-belief I had. Tried for only 3 months, and I was just like, yep, sure. He was like giving me back, you know, all the investment I spend, and I was like, okay, there's literally nothing to lose. This is perfect. So I said yes, and I flew to India because I had some family weddings there. And then in March, you know, we got lawyers involved. I came back to sign the papers. But at that moment, I was just like, I know my parents didn't vocalize this, but they really didn't want me to sell, because they felt like if I did, I would just doubt myself the whole time. Like, I had not given it enough time. My dad kept telling me, like, you just want overnight success. Business takes time. Like,
there's no such thing as overnight success.
There is no such thing as overnight success. I just wanted quick results, because I was just used to having quick results. I felt like this whole journey has just been personal development, right? And I came back and I'm like, actually, I don't want to do this. And part of the reason I also said no to it was because someone had reached out from Imperial to host a jewelry workshop with us. And I gave them the free table at the back. I didn't charge them for space or anything. And they hosted that jewelry workshop, and everyone bought pastries and coffees when they came through the door. And that workshop got us more inquiries. People wanted to host sip and paints. People wanted to host all sorts of different things. And I was just like, there's this whole other market which I haven't explored.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, I can't sell it right now. There's this whole other market I haven't explored. Guaranteed footfall when you're renting out space, and this would be perfect.
I'm really glad you didn't sell, because then we wouldn't be here today and you wouldn't have started Kasa Connect, which is also your podcast.
Yeah.
Do you want to share more about that?
No, I will, but I just wanted to add one more thing. So just the other day, I was reading back into this journal I told you about that I wrote when I started PwC. And in that journal, I wrote about having a career where all my hobbies are integrated, which included like music, art, everything. At Kasa, like, we are having DJ events. We're doing sip and paint. We are doing all these wellness workshops, sound healings. We are doing literally everything that I'm passionate about, like run clubs, Pilates and matcha combination evenings, all of these kind of stuff. And I'm like, I have manifested this. I was reading through that page in that journal, and I'm like, I did not know what it would look like, but everything I've written down, I have it. Yeah. I've also been traveling a lot because, touch wood, I have a really good team now. And that was part of what I wanted, because I love travel. That's something that, really defines me. And yeah, and I was just like, damn, like, you just have to be patient. And someone told me this. It's right before the breakdown that the breakthrough happens.
That is so true. I think also because and it's that whole idea, it's like you never know like where it's going to go. And then there will come a point, I think, in every entrepreneur's journey where it gets to the point of like, you start doubting yourself, you don't know what's happening, something happens, and you kind of like, do I just give up? But the thing is, once you give up, that's a full stop, that's an end, that's a quit, like that's it, you're done. But if you carry on, you never know where that journey is gonna go, and it can get better. And I think like you said, you're an optimist, similar, same, I'm an optimist. There's always this hope that it's gonna get better and it is gonna work out as well. But you mentioned and touched on community as well. How is it like when all these community groups, or like when you feel like you're building a community around you, like how does that make you feel?
Honestly, it's what gives me like the most happiness, because at the end of the day, I feel like my whole purpose is to bring people together. And a lot of times after communities will host an event, they would say like, we've met all these incredible people. The space is so warm and welcoming. We've made new friends. London like is not as lonely when you have communities like this, right? And I think it's all the communities, all the community leaders that has helped Kasa really grow. Like, we are here today, we are thriving, touch wood, and it's all because of community. Like, our customers are so loyal. They come every single day. We know most of them by name, and it's just what has driven this place, touch wood, to like stay in business. Because at the end of the day, like, especially in London, majority of cafes and hospitality businesses, the independent ones, fail under the first year. So it was really because of the communities that were here today. And I think that one thing to stress is through all the collaborations. I really believe that when you meet someone, like, most of the time, if they're doing the same thing, like us, we are doing the same thing. We both have a podcast, but I look at you as someone who can, we can work together and grow together, not as competition. So I think it's like framing everything as collaboration over competition. That's
such a good thing to touch upon, because I think like growing up, like especially within like the South Asian community, like we've been compared so much, especially as kids. And like, it's almost like this person has X, Y, and Z. Why are you not doing that? Or they're like this and you're like this. Yeah. And it kind of feeds this like subconscious nature of almost like comparison and competition. And you're almost in competition with everybody, because there's almost this feeling of there can only be one person. Yeah. And I love the fact that like this generation like is moving more towards collaboration. Like, I love the fact that you've reached out to me, and I love the fact that like we get to do this. And like, I'm so excited for your journey and like where you're going, but and it's so nice to be able to have that friendship as well. For sure. And it doesn't feel like a competition. It feels like, if anything, like I want you to succeed and I want you to like do well. And also it's so exciting. Like, I don't see many South Asian people that own their own cafe either, especially in the heart of London. Like, I think everything you've done is absolutely incredible.
No, thank you so much. It really, really, really means a lot. And I think that recently I'm learning to accept compliments and take compliments well.
we spoke about
before I'd be like, God, it makes me so uncomfortable. I think again, like,
do you think that comes from your childhood?
I have no idea. Probably. I think probably. Yeah.
Because we also connected on this because you grew up shy and I grew up shy, and now look at us on a podcast like being like a bunch of yappers.
I know, it's crazy because I grew up shy to the extent that I grew up in Lagos. I was in the school called AIS, and I would eat lunch alone on the bench in the corner, and I think my mum thought like I had a social disability, so she'd come and like spy on me, and she really is the one who helped me make friends, as in she'd invite people to play group with me and like, but I was still shy. It was actually like when I went to boarding school in my first year, I actually got bullied. And it was my older sister being like, Krishana, you need to stand up for yourself. Like, to the extent, like, you know, I was shy, but also like, I was also a bit naive. Like, someone would tell me like, oh, can you carry my lunchbox? And I'd just do it. Like, I didn't think twice.
How has that self-confidence journey been for you?
Oh, it's been, boarding school has helped me the most. So in boarding school, when I decided, okay, look, I admire all these confident people who are, you know, like fully speaking up in class and doing all of these incredible things because they have the confidence too. And I want to be like them. I started pushing myself. So I joined like the debating club. I did public speaking lessons. I did speech and drama. I did all of these things because I knew that's what I want to be. I want to be like this confident person. And it was incredible. It changed so much from like this shy kid in school to actually like, I think the moment where like, so I was nominated head girl at the end of school, and then I was just like, wow, this is incredible. I've been able to change who I am and become who I want to be. And I think that in itself gave me so much confidence that people, you know, respect me.
What made you want to start the podcast?
So, you know, when I came back to London and I'm like, we are going all in on Kasa. We're not going to give up on this dream, because if I'm not doing Kasa, what am I going to be doing? This is my dream. So a lot of people in my network would come and ask me if they could display their own kind of products in Kasa. There was a lot of different entrepreneurs starting new and exciting products like kombucha brands, chocolate bars, protein bars, all of these kind of stuff. And I would say yes, because I know how hard the entrepreneur journey is and I want to support as much as I can. But when they would come with their products to Kasa, I would ask them about, you know, what made them start and about their journey. And everybody had an incredible story. And their stories weren't shared on their social media or anywhere. And in my head, I was just like, if people knew about your journey, they would 100% back your product. I think that sometimes founder journeys are so important and people need to know. So that's what inspired Kasa Connect. It's all about connection. It's all about helping those people connect with their future consumers, because their story is going to build that relationship. But not only that, it's going to help other entrepreneurs hear ups and downs of other entrepreneurs like I did and feel like we're not alone in this.
And I think that's the whole idea, right? It's like the connection. It's like not feeling like you're alone, and that's also like one of the reasons why I started my own podcast as well, because I almost feel like sometimes when you go through stuff, you think you're alone, it can really negatively impact your mental health as well.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just so nice to be able to hear someone else's story and be like, oh my God, like I'm not going through this alone. This person's also gone through it. They've also come out of it the other side. Or there's just so much hope and relatability and like inspiration that you can take from people's stories.
Yeah.
And that's why stories are like so powerful in itself as well.
I completely agree. And we want to build Kasa Connect beyond just the podcast. We really want to be like a platform of storytelling and entrepreneurs. So we've started doing a lot of in-person events. We had our first one in June, and we had like a massive turnout. It was loads of founders and they all came with their products and they were showcasing it.
If you can go back to Krishana at Imperial, behind that barista cafe, what would you tell her?
What would I tell the barista? Honestly, I would say you were doing so great. I think that was the greatest decision I made, because at that point in time, I was just so, like, I was in Imperial, it was the beginning of me starting Casa, and I was just like, I have this dream, and I'm gonna do anything to achieve this dream, even if it has to be, you know, like working crazy hours and studying and serving my friends who feel awkward about it, but I really don't care. And so I would just pat on the back, to be honest, and I would say, keep that up. I think that when I started Casa, like actually opened Casa, like now it's not Imperial Krishana Barista, it's me. And I started caring too much about, you know, what people would think, say this, that, especially when, like, you know, we were talking about this off camera, like when you first start something new, people are always going to be like, hi, how's it going? And I'm the kind of person who likes to be brutally like honest, and I like to be like authentic, but I'm not going to be like, I'm struggling, I'm going through a hard time, I'm burning out, I'm like not hitting the targets I'm setting for myself. So I'd be like, it's all good. And so I think not being able to kind of be myself really took a toll on my personal health. So I would just, you know, go back to that Krishana at Imperial who actually didn't care and be like, you know, at that point, like there was no one getting in the way of my dreams and I didn't care. I was just going to go for it.
I think you touched on like a really important part, which was when you're a founder or an entrepreneur, you're, especially for a solo entrepreneur, a big part of your business is you. And you also need to take care of yourself, because if you don't, it also, you see it within the business. I was going to ask, like, is there stuff that you do now to like take care of yourself?
Yeah, I separate the two fields. Like, Casa is not my personality and it's not me entirely. It's independent, especially if I want to grow across cities at the end of the day. I need to separate the two. So what I mean by that, for example, is when I would come in here and someone would order a cappuccino and the barista would by mistakenly give a hot chocolate, that would bother me. And I would take it as a personal reflection on my inability to run a business, train staff, and all of that. Now I'm just separating the two. Like, it's just, this is what happens in my business, but like, that's not a reflection of me.
Yeah, that's a really good way to do it. It's almost like you're like compartmentalizing the two.
Like, obviously it's harder done.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. But I think that at the end of the day, it's really important to segregate your life. And I've always been the kind of person who can't work from home for that reason, where like I just feel like it's too intertwined.
Oh my god, yeah, I get that. It's almost like you're working from home, but like home is like where you chill out, and then you also have to work, and then like the two don't really connect. And I think a lot of people feel like that, which is why so many people go to cafes to work if they are working from home, or now prefer to go to the office and stuff.
That is why Casa is called Casa, because it's like meant to be like home away from home. So people come here to work, but it's like, you know, their other home. And also because we want everyone, like, it is set a little bit like a home. I don't know if you realize, like, you've got that sofa area there, dining table, the work spots. So I think the whole idea was like coffee shops was my home away from home for everything.
That is a little bit about your journey. I'm going to give your podcast back to you now.
No, thank you so much. I think I prefer being on the interview, on the interviewer side of things. That was crazy. But thank you so much for helping me get it out. I know everyone's just like, again, it's your podcast. You need to connect with your audience. Why don't you share your story? And I'm like, yeah, I should. And I've stalled it for so long because I prefer being the interviewer, but thank you so much for this.
No, it's such an incredible story and you should be so proud of yourself.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I can't wait to work with you on more projects.
Yeah, me too.